With the cars getting ready to go out for the 3B race in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. And you can see everybody's getting ready for their final race of the season. Ollie Jenkins starts on pole position. It's over to our commentary team to take you through the race.
Final race of the season then for the Mazda MX-5 Championship, the B grid here, race 3B, and again 5 drivers relegated from our second A race will head up the grid for race 3. Ollie Jenkins and Sam Smith are the first two of those, ahead of Charles Mugglestone, Ollie Graham and early retirement in that race, Scott Leach. Then Christian Dan and Owen Mills with Bill Taylor 8. Graham Rumsey and Bruce Robinson ran out the top 10 ahead of Tom Jenkins and the ever-entertaining Luke Souch. Then it was Elliot Han and Michael Pearce, Adam Tyler and Christopher Ginn with Sam Jarvis, Jake Stiles, Toby Owen and Ian Whitick to round out the top 20. Then it's Cian Donaldson and Ashley Heath on the 11th row. Row 12 for Jonathan Fieldsend and Ivan Leary, 2 to keep an eye on I'd suggest. Then Tom Mallett and Richard Bartlett, Neil Dauncey and Rob Mugglestone. Then Dale Whiteman, Anthony Pettigrew, Andrew Dean and Robert Bond with Matthew Fletcher rounding out the bumper 33 car grid. Well, thankfully, no more rain today. The sun has come out to play. It's a bone-dry circuit, and I think we're in for a really entertaining send-off here for the Mazda MX-5 Championship. Race 3B about to get underway with Ollie Jenkins and Sam Smith sharing the front row of the grid. Away they go. The run towards Abbey Corner begins, and who will get there first? It's side-by-side between the top two. On the left-hand side of the shot is Sam Smith, and he will go through, and he brings with him Ollie Graham in the blue 24 car. So Ollie Jenkins ends up dropping down into third at least as they go through the first turn. Through Abbey, they're all through cleanly, that's good news, and immediately the side-by-side battling begins with 3 wide for third place, bit of contact, lots of locking up there. That's Christian Dan nearly going straight on. It's been a lively start to all of our races so far this weekend in the MX-5 Championship with both the A's and the B's, and race 3B absolutely no different at all. They do though all get through with minimal contact at least. I think everyone is still there. Inside there goes Jonathan Fieldsend. Now he started alongside Ivan Leary. He's ahead of Leary now, which is fairness is how it should be because he started 23rd and Leary was 24th, but he's a couple of places ahead of him, I think. Leading two starting to break away then, that's Sam Smith and Oliver Graham. Side by side for third, that's Ollie Jenkins going back up the inside for third position there against Charles Mugglestone. Bruce Robinson around the outside. Oh, and there's a spin. That's Rumsey sideways in front of everybody at Stowe Corner. Oh, are they all going to miss him? I think they might. He's they're making a hasty retreat there as he almost reversed off the track. Didn't see how that started, but Graham Rumsey, not for the first time this weekend, finds himself pointing the wrong way with the bulk of the pack bearing down on him at high speed. He had a similar situation in race 1 at the first corner, and sadly, his weekend and season effectively will end in much the same way. He should be able to rejoin, but a long way behind the back of the pack now with everyone being so closely bunched together on the first lap. Deep breath everyone, that was only lap 1. We're on board with Ashley Heath now. I think that's Ivan Leary in front of us and someone driving around the outside of us there down into the first corner, and someone driving up the inside as well, and Ashley Heath, whereas in race number 2 we saw a lot of overtaking, he was going forwards. In the early stages of this one he's rather slipping backwards. Souch there has had a good start, I think. He's dicing away with Thomas Jenkins, the red number 56 car. Luke started 12th. I venture that he's inside the top 10 now. He's got Christian Dan in front of him, who was 6th in both of our first 2 races. The unluckiest man here, in a way, because he's just missed out on promotion spots in both of our first 2 races. And this being the final race for the weekend, and indeed the season, no promotional spaces to race for in this one. It's just a flat-out race. Ivan Leary going backwards a bit there. We're on board here looking back at the 97 car of Cian Donaldson. It's 2 places lost for Leary. As in Stowe Corner, Souch, just as I was saying nice things about him, he's lost 2 places because through has gone Thomas Jenkins and around the outside Adam Taylor. But again, that's just the effect of the slipstream, I think, down the Hanger Straight. Luke will try and fight back, but needs to be careful because now he's got another car coming up the inside. That's number 70, Michael Pearce. And Michael almost leans on him, but they come through the corner okay, and then sideways for Dan and out wide for Tyler. You've got to have your wits about you in these midfield battles, haven't you? Very easy to get caught up in somebody else's accident, and that more often than not actually is the cause of contact in this championship. It's very rare that you see any downright dirty or overly aggressive racing. It's usually just really close quarter stuff, and if someone gets it wrong, there's not really any leeway for the drivers behind to avoid making contact with them. Well, this is the fight for the lead then. It's Sam Smith that leads the way. Second position is Ollie Graham. Into third now is Charles Mugglestone, by the way. So Mike Comber Racing Cars having a good race here in first and third. And of course, knowing my luck, they're going to get themselves together, so I won't be able to tell the two apart. And they've both got the same coloured wing mirrors as well, which is usually the go-to way of defining the difference between two teammate cars. It's got Leach in the background, dicing away with Ollie Jenkins for 5th position. This is the lead battle then, with Sam Smith leading the way through Stowe Corner and Ollie Graham right on his tail. So these two started on the inside of rows 1 and 2 respectively. That seems to have been the best place to start in a lot of the races this weekend, actually, despite that not being the racing line. So it's, in theory, got less grip than the outside, but you just get that tighter line into the first corner, and Sam Smith used it well, got himself ahead of Ollie Jenkins at the start. Can't quite break clear of Ollie Graham, and you sense that he's had his opportunity to do that. Now, if you don't escape in the first couple of laps, then, especially since Graham has no pressure from anybody behind him at the moment, it's going to be increasingly difficult, I think, for him to pull away from now to the flag. There's Scott Leach, another one of my favourite liveries there, the big tongue sticking out of the front of the car. And he's, at the moment, hanging on to 5th position very well, but Ollie Jenkins is looking itchy to get through here before anybody else arrives on his tail, because yet again, as in race 2, there are quite a few quick drivers coming from a bit further down the order than they will feel they should be. So whilst at the moment it's all reasonably calm at the front, towards the end of the race I think we will have some quick drivers arriving on the scene with some momentum and looking to try and end their season with a podium or a win. So I don't think this will be a straightforward race at all. In the background, as ever, for Luke Souch, it's not turning out to be straightforward because Adam Tyler's just muscled his way through on the outside. That's the side-by-side battle we can see off in the distance, and now Thomas Jenkins makes it 3 wide. Scott Leach here turns through Stowe Corner and fends off, for the time being, Ollie Jenkins. All kicking off behind once again, and that really is where the action is at the moment. I think most of the front runners are content either to work with each other or have spaced themselves out a little bit already. So this is what I wanted to see. There we go. So Tyler ahead of Jenkins, then Souch, who got Malloy will be inside, I think that is. They're 3 abreast again, and well, somehow Luke comes out of that one ahead of Jenkins. I'm not quite sure how he managed that, but I think Jenkins maybe saw them both coming up the inside and thought maybe he better bail out of it, otherwise he was going to get wiped out. So Souch, in danger of losing a place, actually gains one, and now sets off after the car in front of Adam Tyler. Now, Tyler's got good speed, so if anyone can go with him, they might be able to catch the next group, but of course, they're all battling amongst each other, so Tyler's getting away, and Souch ends up out wide, and Malloy was the man that was up the inside of him then into the first corner. Now, Luke's got to try and find his way back on the road. He's got to go right the way down to Village Corner, the other side of the grass. Before the grass ends, he's able to find a gap back in the traffic, but that was very costly for Luke, because he's now back with the likes of Jake Stiles, so he's well outside the top dozen or so now, I fear. Side by side for the leaders. Meanwhile, and it's amazing how an overtake for the race lead can sometimes seem a lot less exciting than the battle that's going on for 12th, but that's because there are only 2 cars involved in this battle, and that was a fairly simple slipstreaming manoeuvre attempted by Ollie Graham. He hasn't actually completed it though, has he? Because he's still stuck on the outside going into Vale, and so Sam Smith, not the Sam Smith that won the championship last year, or contended for the championship last year, but other Mazda MX-5 racing Sam Smith, who has had success in Mazda MX-5 championships with other clubs, but has only done a part season campaign this year anyway in the BRSCC's championship. Let's hope he can come back on board though for a full year next year. He's a quick driver, and again, should be a regular A runner, I think, if he were to come along for a full year. Through comes the pack then. Again, separation there towards the tail end of the top 10, and then everybody else appears out of Club Corner together. And Elliot Han, I think that is the yellow car that's at the front of this group, but not for much longer because Luke Souch goes to the inside and moves back ahead of him, and Han tried to close the door, but Michael Pearce was there. Pearce got spooked a bit there, I think, and got sideways and very nearly lost it. In the end, he saves it, goes through, so too does Jake Stiles. And now, who's this coming up the inside? Ooh, very late on the brakes. Christopher Ginn is the second of those cars. The first one, though, was number 10, which is Tom Mallett from 25th on the grid. Good effort from Tom, then, to get himself into the top 20 now, well into the top 20. And that was all sparked by that side-by-side action at the first corner. And then they all calm down again for a few seconds, and then they pick up the slipstream, and Jake Stiles under pressure now from Tom Mallett, who really is charging forward here, isn't he? And he's about to, I think, gain this position probably into the braking zone at Stowe. In fact, he's done it before they even think about hitting the brakes. Ivan Leary is starting to catch this pack as well now. He's the black and red fronted car that was just behind the number 14 of Elliot Han. Just there is Ivan Leary. No, it's not Ivan Leary, actually, I beg your pardon. Similarly liveried car from the front at least, but from the back it's quite clearly not. That's number 78, Richard Bartlett, I think, who's looking at the inside of Elliott Han into Vale, and didn't quite make it stick. That was close stuff. Oh, that's Adam Tyler's gone around. So Adam Tyler with a half spin at club corner. Now, was that self-inflicted, or did he have some assistance? Adam's had a frustrating weekend, hasn't he? Because he's been quick, there's no doubt about it. One of the quickest drivers in the B grids, and arguably should have been promoted twice, but things have gone wrong, and he's ended up further down the order than he should be. And there is Adam Tyler going through just behind the number 99 car now then, so he's fallen quite some way down the order, unfortunately, after that. Oh, more sideways action now. It really has got an end-of-term feel about it, this race, hasn't it? That's 97 very nearly going around. That was Cian Donaldson. Jake Styles there up the inside of Christopher Ginn. That was a position maintained, I think, for Styles. I think he was defending that place from Christopher. See the way that Luke Souch has pulled away from this group now. That yellow and grey car is actually catching the next gaggle, and he's leaving these next 5 or 6 cars to fight amongst themselves, and fight they are, because they're now 4 abreast again down the Hanger Straight, and that's Han, I think, going around the outside, isn't it? Elliott Han gaining at least 2 places, nearly a third. It is the number 78 car, by the way, of Richard Bartlett. That's the red and black car that now goes past all of them through Stowe Corner. Trot back down the hill on the other side. Jake Styles, oh, there's still 3 abreast almost. Jake Styles backs out of it, but Elliott Han and Christopher Ginn are together. And Christopher goes around the outside at Vale, gets the inside for Club. Jake Styles thinks, I'll have a bit of this, gets sideways onto some cement dust that's been laid from a previous race. These are rear-wheel drive sports cars, remember, so it's surprisingly easy to lose the back of the car. The Mark 1 cars are quite forgiving though. That's what makes them such great cars for racing rookies, because you can get away with quite a bit of heavy-handed steering and sideways action and not actually spin completely, but you still lose time from going sideways. As spectacular as it looks, it's not the quickest way around the corner, usually. Especially in the dry, you don't want to be hanging the tail out particularly. You want to keep that momentum up. They're not the most powerful of cars, so you have to keep the mid-corner speed as high as you can. Getting sideways, whilst you might think that means you're going quicker through the corner, it very rarely does mean that. And those little sideways moments can lose you quite a bit of time. So, leaders then are down at Vale. The rest of the grid making their way down the Hanger Straight. And where is the next battle going to emerge from? Well, anywhere in your shot, really. We're likely to see some overtaking. Most of the field, something flying around in the middle of the road there. I don't think that's bodywork. It's a bit of some other plastic material. Here is Jonathan Fields' end up the inside of Ivan Leary. So that is Ivan Leary, the red and black and yellow number 25 car. So Ivan Leary, who has had a rather frustrating weekend, I think it's fair to say. But, again, another very experienced MX-5 Championship regular, and he's racing with Jonathan Fields' end, and Jonathan just drifts a bit wide. These are 2 Masters drivers who started together on the 12th row of the grid, and Ivan Leary goes right round the outside at Club. I don't think Fields' end saw that coming, and he loses the position. Next man behind will be Ian Whitick in the number 99 car. That's the black machine now starting to fill his mirrors. Head into Abbey Corner once again through the quick right-hander. Into the closing stages now, the final race of the season, into the second half of it anyway. There's number 56 going through, Thomas Jenkins, back towards the front of the field now. Not the very front, but this is middle of the top 10 battling going on. They are just starting to concertina together. This, meanwhile, is for second position, and Charles Mugglestone has caught now Ollie Graham, and he's trying to go around the outside of him through Vale. That gives him the inside line for Club, and it's a Mike Comber racing 1-2 now between Charles Mugglestone and Sam Smith. With Smith still leading, of course, but Mugglestone the quicker of the 2 at this stage. So how hard does he race Sam Smith for the victory? I mean, they're both paying good money to be here, so they may as well, I'm sure they'll be allowed to race each other. Mugglestone waving at Ollie Graham that they should work together now to try and catch the race leader. And Oliver Graham in that 3rd position will be only too happy to oblige, I think, because he had been losing a bit of time to the race leader Sam Smith up until that point. So if he can tag along with Charles Mugglestone, maybe they can both have a chance at competing for the race victory. Although he's struggling to stay with Mugglestone actually as they drop down the hill into Chapel, excuse me, along the back straight. So Mike Comber, himself a very successful Mazda MX-5 racer a few years ago, will be very happy to see his cars 1-2, albeit in a B race, but still if you can get them both on the podium, particularly if it's the top 2 steps of the podium, that would be a very, very nice way to round out the season indeed. Sam Smith screeches his way through Stowe. You can see off in the distance a couple of back markers they'll have to negotiate in the next few laps as well. That will add further spice to the mix. Looks as though that gap is coming down. I think Mugglestone is quicker, continuing to be quicker than the leader Sam Smith, but he's sort of bringing Ollie Graham with him. So there goes the 24 car then, over the curbs. Just got to try and stay in the slipstream and then hope that the 2 in front start to battle each other, but that's perhaps a little unlikely since they're teammates. They'll race each other, but you'd like to think they won't start knocking lumps out of each other. Mind you, stranger things have happened, and Charles Mugglestone would love to get himself a victory here at the end of the year, but of course Sam Smith's been leading the race right the way through, so Mugglestone, twice a B race winner already this season, so knows what it takes to get to the checkered flag first in these races. He's not yet had to battle a teammate for the race victory. The gap definitely coming down though. He's going to be with him, I think, for too much longer. Oliver Graham there, the 24 car, started 4th on the grid, so he's still at least been able to gain position, or a position from where he started. And then Owen Mills looking 4th position, who's actually he's lapping about the same sort of pace as the leader right now. I don't think he's got time to catch them, but he's had a solid race so far. Scott Leach running wide in the background. He's 5th, and he's got Ollie Jenkins right behind him. That's quite a nice 3-way battle for 5th position going on a little bit further back. Charles Mugglestone, though, starting to get close enough to the leader now that he'll pick up a bit of a slipstream down the straights. And that will mean that the final few tenths of this gap will disappear fairly rapidly, you'd imagine. Once you get that toe, it does most of the work for you. It's worth well over half a second, in fact, probably getting on for a full second a lap around this place, if you judge it right. And Mugglestone will now start to feel the benefit of that reduced drag on the car, running in the hole in the air, being punched by his teammate Sam Smith. And you can see the gap is almost nothing now, just in time for them to catch some traffic, which could possibly give Mugglestone the chance that he's looking for here to get the lead away. Through Village, excuse me, and then the link, the left-hander, down the hill into Chapel. So easy to understeer out wide here, as so many people have done already today. You just want to carry all the speed in the world onto that hanger straight, but if you overdo it, you'll be slower than a slow thing down the back stretch. Now Sam Smith waving at Mugglestone. Is he telling him that he doesn't mind him going through? I think he was. Sam Smith had no intention of defending and delaying both of the Mike Comber Racing cars. Charles waves at his teammate as they drive down side by side to Stowe Corner. That's a great photo opportunity for the team, isn't it? So Mugglestone, who I notice now has the red headlight covers, whereas Sam Smith has black headlight covers. So that's the only way, apart from the number obviously, to tell these two cars apart. And it is number 96 now that's ahead, but only just. Sam Smith's coming back at him and goes back ahead of him round the outside at Vale. So he may have waved him through down the hanger straight, but I don't think that's indicative of the fact that he's willing to let Mugglestone have the victory. I think he's going to fight him for it. They just need to be careful not to make contact. Traffic now coming into play. They'll both go to the inside though, and you can see the respect being shown there. Mugglestone moved way over to the right-hand side, didn't try and box Sam Smith in behind the slower car, played it clean, played it fair. He knew he had the momentum anyway, and was able to drive through fairly easily. But Sam Smith comes back at him now as they head into Village. So nice that we're getting a really good battle here for the victory in our final B race of the year. The 75 car there of Robert Bond just about gets out of the way. Andrew Dean, by the way, was the first person to be lapped in this race. And they head now down the hanger straight once more into the closing stages of the race then. More traffic in front, but that should be the last of the cars, I think, Anthony Pettigrew. In each of our first two races, we've had a few cars go a lap down. But I think that should be the last one that we see. Sam Smith goes back ahead now, and I think this is going to be a matter of timing between the two MCR teammates now. Whoever is leads onto the hanger straight for the last time, maybe a sitting duck, may find themselves losing the lead once more. Mugglestone trying to get inventive therefore with his overtaking tactics and go around the outside at Vale, gets the inside line for Club again, and brilliant side-by-side racing here. This is how you race side-by-side whilst also showing each other enough respect. I know they're teammates, I know that it's only a B race victory, but still, this matters to these drivers. They want the victory, and they're proving that you can, if you really want to, drive side by side around some very high-speed corners without trading even a drop of paint. It's Mugglestone then that goes back through again for the second lap in succession on the inside at Abbey Corner, on board with the new race leader. Will he stay in the lead of the race from now to the flag? That's the question. We can't have that long left on the clock. We're into the final couple of laps, I think. Charles Mugglestone has found his way back onto the top of the heap. They are starting to delay each other a little bit, though, and Oliver Graham is catching them. But I think these two have got the speed to pull back away from Oliver if they wanted to, or if they weren't battling each other, I should say. Now, Mugglestone this time is driving a bit more defensively. Went to the right-hand side of the road, now moves back to the left. He's trying to break the toe there, weaving around a bit in a straight line to make it more difficult for Sam Smith to follow in his wheel tracks and get the full effect of the slipstream. So as a result, this time around, they'll single file as they arrive at Stowe Corner. And Mugglestone, if he can keep Sam Smith at arm's length like this, should be able to hang on and claim the victory, you'd have thought. Down into Vale. 3 cars almost for the lead now, though, because Oliver Graham has taken full advantage of this, and he now has a double slipstream from these 2 MCR cars in front. So will they choose to play it safe, maybe, and bring home the 1-2 for the team? Well, let's see what happens. We're on to the final lap of the race, the final lap of the season for the B grid of the Mazda MX-5 Championship. We've seen some fantastic racing in our B races this year. It may not be big points that they're fighting for, they may not be championship contenders, but some of them may be championship contenders of the future. And we've seen some brilliant racecraft by young and old, from experienced drivers to racing rookies. They put on a real show all season long, and it's going to go right down to the wire now, isn't it, this between Charles Mugglestone and Sam Smith. And Charles Mugglestone comes through the right-hander as the race leader. Now, I said a couple of laps ago that the leader on the last lap at this part of the circuit may struggle to maintain the lead to the checkered flag. Am I going to be proven right, or, not for the first time, proven wrong? Well, Mugglestone is trying to prove me wrong. He moves over to the inside line to defend, forcing Sam Smith to the outside. Sam Smith dutifully goes to the outside. He's got some good momentum, but is he late enough on the brakes to outbrake his teammates side by side between the 2 Mike Comber racing cars? And it's Mugglestone, I think, that will hang on. Yeah, comes off the corner, still in front. So Charles Mugglestone then with just 1 more braking zone to go now. Can Sam Smith do anything about it? I don't think he can. He's not going to come from that far back, surely. And so Charles Mugglestone just needs to get on the power through Club Corner, up through the gears, and he will see the checkered flag once more in race number 3B here at Silverstone. The final race of the season has been a good one, and it's Mugglestone that wins. Sam Smith second, a 1-2 for Mike Comber Racing. A perfect way for them to sign off their season. Oliver Graham comes home in third, so we're much closer at the front of the field in that one than in the previous 2B races. Owen Mills is fourth, except we're hearing now that Oliver Graham's been given a 10-second time penalty for being out of position at the start. That means that this is the official result. Still Mugglestone and Smith 1-2, but Mills gets on the podium. Graham demoted to fourth, and Ollie Jenkins fifth. Then it was Scott Leach and Bruce Robinson, Tom Jenkins and Matthew Fletcher, whilst Christian Dan rounded out the top 10. Luke Souch was inside the top dozen in all 3 races. A good weekend for him, with Bill Taylor, Tom Mallock, Christopher Ginn and Michael Pearce rounding out the top 15. Elliot Han, Adam Taylor, Richard Bartlett, Graham Rumsey and Ivan Leary to round out the top 20. Once again, no retirements, great racing, clean racing for the most part, a great way to round out the year.
Charlie, great win in the final Mazda race of the year. You must be pretty pleased.
Mega pleased. The car was, in all respect, not brilliant after the contact in race 2, but you know, that was such a laugh. On the international circuit at Silverstone, racing with your teammate, that was just mega, such a laugh.
And gives you a little bit of momentum going into the winter. Can we expect to see you out again next year?
Oh, undecided, but I reckon after this weekend, and I think MCR have been so good this year that I'm going to have to. I can't resist not coming back.
Well, we look forward to seeing you out there. Congratulations on your win.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Congratulations on your second place. Some tough racing out there.
Yeah, it was great. It's never great to be in a B race, but that's where we are this weekend. We've had a bit of a steady one. Unfortunately, we had our differential blew up from top 5 finishing the A race. But nevertheless, we're here to enjoy it. We had a great time. Hats off to Charlie. You know, Charlie's made massive progress this season, and he beat me fair and square. I didn't have any issues with the car. Michael Comber Racing have done a great job to get me back out this weekend after what happened in the last A race. But the car was not only repaired; it was as good back to its best, which was nice.
Looking forward to next season. Are we going to see you back out there?
I hope so. I wanted to do a full year this year, but the missus wanted to get married and all that boring stuff, so you have to put that first at some point.
Well, we look forward to seeing you out there, hopefully for a full season, and wish you all the best for the winter.
That's great, thank you very much.
Well, that looked like a surprise for your third place.
It was, yeah. I literally just came in the Parc Ferme and got told to follow the guys up to the podium because I was in third. But yeah, it's happy days, I'll take it.
Was an interesting race out there, a lot going on. Talk us through it.
Yeah, off the start, the car felt great. All weekend we've been struggling with setup. We've had a lot of help from some of the other guys in the Mazda paddock. They know who they are. Big thanks to them. Big thanks to my dad as well for putting the setup on the car. But start of the race, it felt amazing. At the end, the tyres dropped off a little bit, but yeah, I'm still happy with the result.
Good podium to take you through the winter. Look forward to seeing you out there next year.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully compete my first full season next year. We did 3 rounds this year and we've loved it. The Mazdas are great, the paddock is great, the atmosphere is great. So yeah, looking forward to be back next year.
Brilliant, we look forward to seeing you then. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.